Ready for another Red Chair Chat? Hey, everybody. Here's another one of my favorite Bible verses. This is from Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Wow. If I had only known that back then, in my younger days. So somebody reached out, and I really appreciate any questions you guys have about the book, about the farm. I probably can't answer a lot of questions about the tractors because I only know how to drive them. But I'm open to any kind of questions that you might have. I'm not a theologian. I'm not an expert in much of anything except my love for Jesus Christ, and that's where that's at. So they texted me and wanted to know how I came to write this book. Through the years in the entertainment industry, all the way back as far as I can remember as a child, I've got stories. We all have stories. Some of mine are not great. Some are debaucherous. Some are uplifting, as much as they can be. I tell these stories in groups we get around, and something will spark. You know how it is. You'll be having a conversation with somebody and it sparks a story that you want to tell that relates to whatever the conversation might be. And so I have these 42 pages of different stories that I tell, and every time I tell one, it rolls into another and then another, and certainly not trying to glorify that behavior, but without any exceptions, people would always say, you should write a book. Well, that's great, and it's an exciting thought, and it was at the time, but I felt like that I couldn't write a book that didn't have a payoff, and at the time, I didn't have a payoff. It would have been a book of quadruple X stories that was wrapped in brown paper and put behind the counter in the magazine store. A few years ago, I had been in management for 22 years, artist management for 22 years. The most thankless job on the planet, by the way. And I was trying to figure out what the heck I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I decided to go back to school. So I went to a school, and most of it was online, but the Institute of Integrative Nutrition out of New York. And I spent 2 years studying, got a degree in nutrition, life coaching, and was going to start my own business. So I go back to school, get a degree in nutrition and life coaching, and set out. I had just gotten out of the most thankless job on the planet, being an artist manager, and I rolled right into deciding that I would help touring musicians learn how to be healthy while they were on the road. Boy, that's even a tougher one because none of them want to. So I felt like after getting out of school, now there could be a payoff for the book, and I could write a book. So the initial title for the book was going to be Cocaine to Kale. That sounds pretty good, right? And so I started thinking about it, looking for somebody to help me write the book. And then I'm going to say probably a year after I got out of school is when a miraculous thing happened in my life, and I gave my life to Jesus Christ. And then I said, wow, maybe there could be two books and a really great payoff. So the first book would be Cocaine to Kale, and the next book would be called Kale to Christ. I did some research. I found a young man to help me write the book. We spent a little over a year doing research and putting things together for this book. And he became to know me so well that his writing was exactly like I speak and tell stories. I'm not a writer, and I really thank Chris Parton for being involved in writing this book. He did a masterful job. So Chris said, we don't need to do two books, let's do one book. And with the research that you've done, we need to incorporate some information about your father, which I know you've been struggling with and trying to figure that out. So that's really the story of how the book came about. We spent quite a bit of time and narrowed it down to just one book. And the title of the book is Father, Son, and the Unholy Road, the dark, twisted truth of my journey from cocaine to Christ. So that's how the book came about. And we'll tell some other stories in that. And especially I want to tell the story about how I found out who my real father was, which is very interesting. So thanks for joining me for the Red Chair Chat. Hope to see you again soon here at Humble Hollow Farm, and bless each one of you.